There are houses that stand as if they were built not by hands but by something older, darker, and beyond understanding. The house at the edge of Hollow Creek was one such place. It did not welcome visitors, nor did it chase them away. It simply stood there, waiting, as though it had all the time in the world. And in truth, it did. For the house was not bound by the time that ruled the rest of us. It moved with its own rhythm, bending hours into days and stretching minutes into eternities. When the Crane family first laid eyes on it, they felt a strange pull. Jonathan Crane, his wife Evelyn, and their 2 children thought they had found their escape from the noise of the city. The house was large, towering with steep gables and dark wooden beams, its windows staring out like half-lidded eyes. The air around it felt heavy, like it carried memories, yet something about it promised peace. They signed the papers quickly, almost too quickly, and within weeks, they were moving in. From the very first night, the house revealed its nature. Evelyn awoke in the silence of midnight, only to find the light streaming in through the curtains. It was morning already. She looked at the clock, just past 12, and blinked in confusion. Time had leapt forward, or perhaps slipped away. She woke Jonathan, who dismissed it as a trick of exhaustion, but when the children woke, complaining that their dreams had stretched on for days, Evelyn felt a knot in her stomach. The days began to unravel in strange patterns. Breakfast seemed to last hours, though the food grew cold in minutes. Jonathan would step outside to fetch wood, gone for only a few moments, but when he returned, his beard carried the shadow of several days' growth. The children, Sarah and Michael, whispered that they had seen shadows playing in the halls, moving in ways that didn't match the ticking of the clocks. The house was breathing, they said, breathing with them, around them, through them. Evelyn kept a journal, though the dates blurred and scattered. One entry would be in summer, the next would feel like winter, though only hours had passed. She began to lose track of the children's ages. Michael seemed older one day, younger the next, his features shifting as though time itself couldn't decide how he should look. Sarah sometimes spoke with the voice of a woman, recounting memories of places she'd never been, and then the next day, she was back to a frightened little girl clutching her doll. Jonathan tried to remain steady. He told himself it was stress, that the house was old and playing tricks on their minds. But one evening, while repairing the cellar door, he found something that shattered his certainty. Behind the wooden paneling was another layer of walls, older, cracked, inscribed with carvings that resembled clocks without hands, circles within circles, all spiraling inward, all pointing to nothing. The markings seemed to pulse faintly, as though they were still alive. That night, Jonathan dreamed of the house's bones, not wood or stone, but roots that dug deep into the earth, drinking from something black and endless. He woke with dirt beneath his fingernails, though he had not left the bed. The family began to notice that visitors never stayed long. A neighbor who came to welcome them claimed to have been in the house for half an hour, though his wife swore he had been gone for 3 days. The mailman stopped delivering altogether, muttering that the place wasn't right with the sun. Even birds avoided the roof, circling wide around it as though they could sense the twisting currents of time below. Then came the first disappearance. Michael had been playing in the upstairs hall, his laughter echoing faintly. Evelyn turned the corner, and in the blink of an eye, he was gone. Hours later, she found him asleep in the attic, though the door had been locked, and his small face was gaunt, his skin pale. He whispered that he had been lost for weeks, wandering halls that stretched like endless tunnels, filled with clocks that had no hands. Evelyn wept and held him close, but when she looked into his eyes, she knew he was not the same boy. Something had shifted inside him. The longer they stayed, the more the house fed. Evelyn noticed her reflection aging in the mirrors, while her children seemed to flicker between stages of life. Jonathan grew quiet, his eyes hollow, staring at the walls as if listening. He claimed he could hear the ticking beneath the silence, not from clocks, but from the heart of the house itself. And sometimes, when the family gathered for dinner, the food would rot on the table within minutes, mold creeping across the bread as if time itself had spoiled it. The journal became unreadable. Entire pages filled themselves while Evelyn slept, her handwriting scrawled in phrases she didn't remember writing. The house keeps the hours. The house devours the days. The house is the clock. Soon, nights became endless. They would light candles at dusk, only for the sun to never rise again. In the eternal dark, they heard whispers in the walls, murmurs counting numbers in languages they did not know. Shadows walked the halls with no bodies to cast them. Sarah cried that she had lived lifetimes in the house, that she had grown old and died many times, yet always awoke again in her bed. Jonathan became obsessed with the cellar. He claimed the answer lay beneath the earth. He dug deeper, breaking through stone and soil, until he uncovered a chamber filled with clocks. They were all different. Grandfather clocks, wristwatches, pocket watches, but every one of them was frozen, their hands missing. In the center was a single pendulum swinging back and forth, though there was no clock to hold it. Jonathan fell to his knees, entranced, and whispered, "This is where it keeps the time." Evelyn tried to take the children and leave. She packed bags, forced open the front door, and stepped into the light, only to find herself back in the entryway, bags still in hand. Again and again she tried, but the house folded upon itself, reshaping hallways and doors, making escape impossible. One night, she awoke to find Jonathan gone. The cellar door stood open, and from within came a deep rhythmic sound, like the beating of a colossal heart. She descended, the children clutching her hands, only to find the chamber transformed. Jonathan stood before the pendulum, his body thin and stretched, his eyes sunken black. He turned to her, smiling faintly. "It chose me," he whispered. "I am its keeper now. I am its hour hand." The pendulum slowed. The house shuddered. And in that instant, Evelyn understood. The house did not simply bend time, it consumed it. Every hour they had lived was devoured, digested, and added to the endless hunger of the walls. They had not been living in the house had been living through them. The children screamed as shadows closed in, their voices swallowed by silence. Evelyn tried to hold them, but her hands slipped through air as though they had already been erased. The house inhaled, and in one breath, their time was gone. The cranes were never seen again. The house still stands at Hollow Creek, quiet and patient. Those who pass it feel the strange pull, the whisper of lost years brushing against their skin. And if you stand close enough, you can hear it. The faint ticking beneath the silence, the house keeping its feast of time, waiting for the next family who dares to step inside. Because time is not lost in that house. It is eaten. And sooner or later, it will be hungry again.